is happening? Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. All right. Fascinating. Uh-oh, my echo. Hello, everyone. Y'all hear that? All right, I shut off the thing. Is it still working? Oh boy. It must be. It must be. Let's see if it says we're live streaming. Yep, we're live streaming. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the amazing AI Leadership Happy Hour. It's all about I love AI and all the people that love AI. Good to see Michelle, Sandrine, Priscilla. Thanks for being here. All right. So I don't know if you saw, we're 3 minutes in. We'll let people keep joining. It is possible to be here live and ask questions and hang out. If you would like, I'm gonna have to get rid of Anna's note taker here because I don't see Annette in here. Is Annette in here? Michelle, is that you? Is that like secret you?
Hey, I'm here. Hey, I love your shirt.
Thank
I
you.
am loving that. It's a nice color. I see,
Oh, right. I
that's
might have a
cool.
store for you, Michelle. I can send
Yeah.
you could get one.
You're like, you too can have your.
Yes, yes. But wait, there's more. Um, all right. I think I'm just gonna get rid of it. Is Annette anyone's like spouse or something? All right, all right. I feel bad for you. I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds. I mean, there are two, so I'm just gonna get rid of one of them for now. All right. No, I don't want to report you. I presume they're gonna be here shortly. All right. If we don't, good to see you, Matthew. What's up, Matt? All is
Hey, what's going on?
all good in your world?
Exhausted. It's been a heck of a week, but it's been highly productive, so we are moving forward. How about you?
Great. We did our 2025 planning this week, so it was
That's
really
very
cool.
cool.
Yeah, set some aggressive targets, and I had a really I forgot to tell my other the other call, but I had a really great meeting with a very big client. But one of the things I learned doing our 2025 planning is that, when you build a business, obviously you don't want it to be like thin and wide. You don't want to have like a gazillion little clients like that you then have to manage. Like there's kind of a happy medium, but you also don't want to be narrow and deep and have like 35% of your revenue coming from a single source, because obviously if they go away, it can be catastrophic to your organization. So we're like balancing because we are about to get a client that could easily be 35% of our revenue. But that just means I need to get like 4 more. So it balances it out. And they're not the only person in the house. Good to see you. All right, awesome. Okay, so welcome aboard, everybody. So this today earlier around, I don't know, 8:15 this morning, I got on and did a live broadcast of just some updates. So I'm going to recap some of those updates and then also talk about some of the things that are happening in the AI Leadership Institute as well as in the I Love AI community. And then we'll open it up and see if we have any questions, and I'll share with you some of the cool things that I did. One of them, maybe I'll start with, is like the opposite of AI. I went and got myself, I think they're fancy, but I brought myself fancy stationery. Isn't it nice? So I could write handwritten notes to my friends. Because sometimes I always say one of my goals, one of the philosophies of our organization is to scale the unscalable. And I feel like handwritten notes are kind of part of that philosophy. So I'm excited. They just came in. I went to Etsy and sponsored some small business to handcraft and paint my stationery. So really good investment. I'm excited. Yeah. So write handwritten notes. I always get, I mean, sometimes people will keep them and I'll come and see them and they'll be like, look, I still have your note you wrote me. It's really cool. Awesome. So just as an update, some of the things that have happened around the world that's interesting and maybe thought-provoking, and we can talk about it. One is the leadership changes that are happening all across the industry. Most specifically, I think yesterday, the co-founder of Sora, the video engine at OpenAI, has left or is leaving and headed to Google. as well as, of course, Mira Murati, who was the CTO of OpenAI, has gone on to greener pastures. So I'm starting to see a little narrative develop in the press around, if OpenAI is doing so well, why are really good people leaving? And I personally haven't been in this space for a really long time. Actually, I feel like I have a different perspective, I guess, than most, in that these kind of changes happen all the time. It's a little rare, I think, that we're now in a world where it's like a soap opera and we're watching super closely about these departures. But in, at Amazon, at Microsoft, Amazon, Alexa, like we just had like a lot of times we would have some rock star data scientist and they'd be like, yeah, I got a better offer across the pond. And you're like, okay, bye. And then not too many years later, I would then be at Microsoft. So I feel like sometimes these companies share talent quite a bit because there's not a lot of them. And of course, as a person, if you have a lot of talent and someone's willing to pay you a lot, like generational wealth building kind of a lot, you can't fault people for thinking about doing things in a different way. And then you can pontificate or speculate a little bit about kind of the responsible AI paradigm that's shifting at OpenAI. Obviously, the name of the company indicates that they intended to be open. They intended to be kind of research driven. And as capitalism has taken over the organization, they're now driving a little bit towards, valuation. I don't know if you saw, but they've now released valuation of what was it, 175 billion or something ridiculous. So the fact that they're doing a lot more announcements around their valuation, around Sam Altman and Greg Brockman's kind of position of commercializing the work that's being done there. Obviously, I would imagine that people who started with the context of, we're going to build an AI system that serves everyone, that's now we're going to build an AI system that serves people who pay us $20 a month. Like, maybe you won't want to be there. But oftentimes the people that create a company from like 0 to, let's say, 10 million or $100 million in revenue, and obviously OpenAI has grown so fast, it's way past that. But in those early years, the people that build that are not often the people that stay to grow it to its next level, because the entity itself has to evolve. And I think that's a little bit of what I see playing out over there. Some other exciting stuff though, Copilot, I think, who was it? Was it you, Priscilla? Someone had announced or sent out the phase 2 updates. I mean, I know I also did, but someone else did as well. So Copilot phase 2 just came out. It's pretty interesting stuff. The things that I'm using right now every day is the ability to do contextual screen reading. So being on a website, I used to have to jump through quite a few hoops to get my device to read what was on the screen. It was still worth it to me because a lot of the screens I read are like academic papers and it was a lot of information. But the fact that now I could just ask it to read whatever page I'm on is pretty cool. Google Lens came out with an advancement of their technology, right? So I think what I'm noticing, at least this week in AI, is that we're seeing a lot of features being added to existing products as opposed to like brand new Sora level announcements where an entire new generation of technology. I didn't get any real big notifications like that, but Copilot phase 2 is pretty significant. Obviously, we saw the fanfare around Google or Notebook LM. If you haven't tried it, it's one of those really interesting technologies. I was just talking to a bank today, as a matter of fact, and they had used it to ingest their analyst and investor report, and they generated that podcast that we demoed earlier. And so when we generated that podcast, it gave us the ability to kind of see how that's going. Exactly. ChatGPT. I mentioned you earlier on my podcast, I think. Oh yeah, you were there this morning. I was like, I mentioned it. Yeah, 100%. Like the Canvas, really cool stuff. So all of these things are less product announcements and more feature announcements, but some of these features are extremely compelling. I think my favorite, of course, I like tech I can talk to. So my favorite announcement and feature release was the ability for me to go in and now use a much higher quality version of the conversational app inside of OpenAI. Spruce has been my voice for a while, but now it's really, really good at understanding when I'm talking versus when it's talking. So I really, really like it. Hello, Talisha. What? First Friday. Is it first Friday? What? We got to do a thing.
The first
Talisha,
Friday.
let's
Exactly.
do
And
it.
we have a day coming up. There's a holiday in here.
Yes, I do.
So
What
we
holiday is that?
remember. Okay, I'm going to let you remember because we talked about it. It was one of your AI trivias, and it's
Oh, I'm like, wait.
and you said you
Yeah,
wanted to do something for it. So
I do want to do something for it. Yeah, and we will actually. We will. I think we will.
okay.
I think we should do like anyway, I have ideas. I'm not gonna steal my own thunder, but I do have some ideas that I thought of that day. Or yesterday, was it? I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. But I also like the first Friday idea. We had that. Um, we would do team meetings, like meeting with everybody in the company. We would do first Fridays would be team meetings. So I like the idea. That's cool. It's interesting. All these really amazing things that we could build on. So that is yeah. So welcome. Thanks for coming, Talisha, by the way. And I think it's really, really interesting just watching kind of the world of these features release. I do think it's important. Now, as a matter of fact, as of today, I'm like, there's zero excuse. You don't just start talking to your tech, like using your voice. I think that I remember in the early days of Alexa, people struggled to talk to the device. Like it was not a natural thing. Now maybe it's a little bit more natural, but as it's been 10 years since then, since most of us started that conversation, and now we're doing it on our phone or we're doing it more contextually. I think it'd be really cool. I think it would be really cool to look at. So I use it now. Like I said, I use the Spruce voice. You all can kind of make your own decisions about what voice you like. Yeah, I'd love to know. But Spruce sounds very multicultural to me. So that's why I like it. I always like to give you guys a little heads up on some of the things I'm reading. If you are reading anything interesting, I would love to hear it. So kind of think about that. I have a brand new book. It's called Create Innovation. I don't even, let's see, it's a Wiley book, but it's a consortium of people. So I encourage you to take a look at it. It's much better physical copy. I don't even know if they have it in virtual. But the reason I like it is because it provides, especially if you're a consultant or an advisor or a solution architect, it has all sorts of really interesting ways of thinking about like what you would do in a workshop or what you do in a strategy session. It's basically business models, innovative design thinking sessions, a lot of things that I have in my head. But oftentimes I think I've told you all this before. Like I sometimes get bored because I teach the same thing over and over. And while it's new to my audience, I want to still be excited about it. So when I found this book, I loved it because it had 50 new tools that I could use that would get me the same outcome, but done in a slightly different way through the brilliant minds of Stefan Diffenbacher, Caroline, Hittenlinger, Suzanne Zanellini, Douglas Lines, and Andreas Ryan. So if you want to, I will put the post out there, but it's pretty cool. Annette is here. I left one of your bots running. Two of your bots showed up, and I didn't know if you'd make it, so I turned one off.
That's fine.
Okay, but you still should have one. I felt because I was like, what if you do come and then I will have killed your bot? So I left one running. And Priscilla had said that sometimes Otter duplicates them by accident.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought maybe happened. Awesome. All right, cool. Oh, another book reference. You want to talk about it a little bit, Matt? Or are you busy?
No, I'm here. Sorry about that. Yeah, no. So I just finished up. So a book called Data Independence: Reclaiming Privacy in an Era of Evolving Tech. It's in the chat. The author's name is Dr. Wes Char. He does the speaking circuit as well. Actually ran into him last year at Code Forward, same place I ran into you, Noel, first time here in DC. And then he just came out at the end of September. It goes to really good stuff. It talks about how data protections need to evolve, in the era of artificial intelligence, responsible AI, all the buzzwords. But it really goes into some practical solutions that I would recommend. And it's really thought provoking, and it's nice to see someone who's not only has the academic credentials, but has a little bit of been there, done that in the industry of like, hey, these are some good ideas, but let's talk about what's practical,
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is always, I think, difficult to build to bridge that gap between academia and real world application. And can I do a bit of a self plug?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I
So
mean, it
I'm about
depends. Like, don't be ridiculous, but yes.
no. So I was just like, if you wouldn't mind, like, I mean, I am in the middle of, I'm about, say, a 40%, no, about 50% solution on my own article.
Oh, cool.
For artificial implementation for organizational change management. So, yeah, no, once I get that complete and I get it blessed off by some editor, I'll throw it in the chat or throw it in the
Absolutely. We'd
community.
love to
See what you
support
think.
you.
Awesome.
Like when
Appreciate
you
you.
say things like that, I'm thinking you're gonna like sell something for $9.99. Like that's what it's
Oh God, no, 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 no,
yeah.
no, 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 no,
I'm like, wait,
no,
what are you
no.
talking about? So 100% we would, yes, 100% support you. I've also done for many people in our community, I've done
Mhm.
phone calls. I think a lot of us are willing to like, from our unique experience, Priscilla has also done this, where if you need, as you decide to write more and more of these things, if you want some
Yeah, proof
people to
it.
like,
Cut it up.
yeah. So feel free
Yeah.
to reach out to people. Yeah, it's really that's what we're here for. And we'd love to like see what you're doing and of course support the publishing, but also, read it, give you feedback. That is what we're all about.
Sweet. Very cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome. I love it. I was just saying on our AI leadership call that like it's so important that we get out there. Like we really like right now, known beats best, and the best
Yeah.
are not well known. And so how do we like flip that switch? Because there's so many of us with really great ideas, really great experience, and we're getting, kind of like overshadowed by people who are relatively new to the game that don't have a lot of experience.
Yeah,
And
that are
it's
very
really
loud.
just, yeah, and they're just loud. And so I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? It's time to raise our voices a little bit.
Agreed.
And
Well,
let the world know.
hopefully, and I'm going to keep lid on it now, but hopefully in a few weeks, I will have some absolutely awesome news with some more stuff coming out. So I'm trying.
Cool.
I'm
All
trying.
right.
So,
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for you there.
yeah, fingers and toes, all 6 of them. I would really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Priscilla, sorry, I missed your hand before I went right to Matt. Do you have a book or what do you got going on?
I do. Okay, so fun fact about me is that when I first met Noelle back in the day in 2016. Oh, I'm sorry. This is like my eyebrows are looking funny on here.
I try not even to look at myself.
It's so funny. I don't know what's going on here, guys, but something's going on. But anyways, I would visit other universities like Stanford and Carnegie Mellon and participate in AI and machine learning projects and events. So one of the schools is Michigan State. It's hard for me to say Michigan State because U of M, but
Yes.
Michigan State. There is he's amazing. His name is Sebastian Rashka. Okay, and he has this book. Can you see this book? I don't know why.
Large language models. I'll find him.
Yes. Build a large language model. So this is really cool because it teaches you how to code an LLM architecture and develop these LLMs that
you got an early one, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I did. I started. I've been following Sebastian since again 2016. So I think he's just one of the people that you really need to follow, and especially if you're a coder, AI engineer, he's someone to great for resources.
Amazing, because I went, I'm like, wait a second, it's not available. Like, get us copies. I mean, it's gonna release in like 2 weeks, but like use your mojo, get us some early.
Oh my God, I totally could reach out to him. I mean, I don't know him like that, but I was able to see him, and he honestly was one of the main reasons why I would go to the Michigan State Data Science Club, because I looked forward to hear his questions all the time.
Cool.
Yeah, like or even like what he shared to the rest of the club. And I'm telling you, the data science team at Michigan State is packed. Like people were standing up. There was no room to sit down or anything. But again, just to hear what he had to share. So let me lower my hand too.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Really cool. What's up, Mark? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You do want to say hi? Introduce yourself?
I watched
Yes.
your thing this morning. That was great.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like so extemporaneous, but
Love it. Love it. There's so many things going on and so many advances that you got to the end and then you're like, oh yeah, and then they 04
and then
can
this. Yeah,
like it's like there's just too many things, right? Pretty exciting.
100%. Like I try to like keep it and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I was only gonna do a 10-minute update. It's been 30 minutes.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
pretty fun. So tell everyone a little bit about you and who you are and what you do, and so we can understand, know more about you.
Sure. Yeah. I'm I've had many different careers over the years, but I came from the world of live event production and immersive experiences. I helped actually create the X Games. If you guys ever watch any of the
Heck
skateboarding,
yeah, dude, that is awesome.
so I built what became the Pro Tour for skateboarding and BMX and freestyle moto. If you go back and listen to any of those old shows, you'll hear my voice because I was actually one of the hosts because nobody else. I helped create the rules, so like nobody else
So
knew.
freaking legit,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, that's
Like
awesome.
super funny. And then I've started 4 different nonprofits. I've been a bit of a futurist and always a sort of a tech optimist. If any of you came out to South by Southwest in 2021 and you went to the big 360 domes that were out there for
Yeah.
Fluff World, I produced that event
Neat.
with my company. So we do a lot of cool stuff. But right now I'm super excited because I'm working with it just so happens my best friend happens to have built and is about to release like a tip of the spear, multi-agent, multi-platform, autonomous multi-agent platform that's just mind-blowing. I mean, it's sort of taking what's being built and it's the next level. Like they've been building using finite state machines and like this whole thing that O1 is doing for the last 3 years. And
Right.
so they're like, oh, we're on track. Like we've been doing the right stuff. But basically you'll be able to, and this is going to be, we're going to be releasing it with some initial partners in 60 days, but it already works. I've had early access and you'll basically be able to, the machine, that the agents can actually create agents. They can actually create agents that are smarter than themselves, which just happened the other day, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But the agents can create your agents for you, super sophisticated, and then they can just create a massive task list, assign it to each other, and do 90% of the work with just very little human interaction. And every platform that you're seeing out there, the ones that you talk about, Noelle,
Yeah.
they all just become tools, and they can
Right.
access any tools they want.
Multitask orchestration. I've been talking about this dream for like 7
Yep.
years. Like,
Well, it's coming.
really,
It's coming.
yeah.
This is called AI Mystic. It's really neat. Yeah.
Awesome. Are they taking like pre-beta people? Is there a list we
Yeah.
can join?
You know what I'll do? I'll actually share in the chat, if it's okay. I'll just share a link to a podcast that Eric
Oh,
was just
awesome.
on. The first podcast he's been on, but he goes into his origin story. He gives an actual hands-on demo. The guys who are on it were like blown away, and they were so funny because they were very complimentary of Eric. He's literally the smartest man I know. He's like a real genius.
Of course. Yeah, I love it.
And they said, he goes, and the guy who hosts it is really, he's a big AI smart guy who's had this podcast since 2018. And he said, yeah, his partner said, I hear you're really smart. And he said, yeah, I'm like GPT and he's like AGI. No,
That's pretty cool. I
pretty
love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you wouldn't
I'll
mind.
drop the link in here so you guys can check it
Yes.
out. It's a pretty entertaining podcast. So
Amazing. Amazing. Awesome. Cool. Well, nice to meet you. We're glad you're
Thank you.
here.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, really fun. And let me see who else is in the house that hasn't been here in a while. Laverne, good to see you. You are on your phone, I think. So don't worry, you don't have to come on camera or nothing. And good to see you, of course, Sandrine and Sherry made it over too. Yes, and I always get like a bunch of messages. It's Friday, 4 o'clock. It's my favorite way to spend my 4 o'clock. So sorry, like, I'm always like, I do things that kind of work out for me. And if you all can come and hang out with the party, I am very grateful for it. Awesome. I see it. That is amazing. I'm definitely going to be listening to that this weekend. So we've given you a few books to get going this weekend. I do always like to use our time together also to share with you some of the opportunities that are coming up, not just in my world, but also kind of more broadly. If you are familiar with, like, I like to make sure we are all as close as we can be to different tools and technologies. That's why I was kind of like, oh, is there like a sign up? a lot of people ask me how I distinguish the signal to noise ratio. And I honestly don't really. I mean, I guess I do, because if it's awesome and engaging, I keep using it. And if it's not, I let it go away. And many of the things are like flash in the pan, like Notebook LM. Like, it was very cool the second I looked at it. And now I'm kind of like, it's not unlike other things that I've used in the past. Same with, URL to video from HeyGen and 11 Labs, like very cool when I first figured it out. And they haven't updated it in like 6 months. So it's now lost my attention. But if you find a tool, or if you're using a tool, like, this is definitely a cool place to send it. You can publish it. There is an AI tools section in our chat. I think a lot of people are really excited. One of these days, so I think over the summer, I was doing a couple of posts around what's your favorite tool. And there were some of the best posts we did, because everyone would throw in a tool that they were using. So you got a lot of visibility to things that were outside your typical area of interest. And so I think that is really fun. So maybe I'll do that next week. Just to give you all a sense of what's happening in my world, next week I am in 3 states back to back. So I start off in Denver at MGMA, where I'm going to be talking to some medical people. I don't exactly remember what. It'll be medically inclined. And then Grace Hopper, which is one of the biggest events for women and non-binary people. So it's a really cool event that I get to be a part of. I'm one of the featured speakers there. That I think there's 30,000 people there, and we're on the main stage. So I'm really excited. I always try to push the edge of how big of an audience I can talk to without losing my mind. And then Thursday, I am in Salt Lake City talking to the Center for Responsible Nutrition. So I mentioned this morning, like, if you walk down and you look at all the vitamin providers, it's literally where they go to hang out. And every year, once a year, they get together and talk about how do we make sure that we respond. Like, they're the ones who helped create regulation that says, like, you can't just build a bottle, put stuff in it and stick it on the shelf and call it a vitamin, that you actually have to prove some, like, FDA regulations around nutrients and supplements. I'm very bullish on the supplement industry because of the work that's happening in a lot of the AI labs around the world around doing kind of genetically influenced supplements. So microdosing based on your genetic information and using these like super tiny doses of stuff, as opposed to all of it. I mean, it's ridiculous to think everyone takes the same amount of vitamin C when they pop a pill of vitamin C. Like, we don't know if that's good or bad. Does your body react? Does it not? And the best analogy someone gave me, which is what I'll be using in my talk, is around, there are some people that live to be over 100 years old that smoke every day of their life and drink whiskey, like, and then there's some people who, are around smoke and get lung cancer at the age of 35, like, and they're not even smokers. They're getting secondhand smoke. Like, everyone's unique body composition it's just unique for everyone. And so the more we know about that, the more we can be educated in what we put into our bodies. And AI is a huge vehicle for that, not only for helping with the testing that we could do, but more importantly, with the dissemination of information about what happens in those tests. So I have this huge test I just took. It's got like 400 pages of information. I'm pretty smart, I feel like, and I struggled to get through it. And I was like, there really should be an AI for this. There really should be a way for me to be like, just lay it to me straight. Tell me what I need to know. So I'm working with companies to help create AI systems that'll explain the technology and the supplements that they're building. So that's what Thursday is all about. And then Saturday, my husband and I get on a plane and head to Sydney for South by Southwest, and we'll be there all week, which will be very fun. So one of the things that I wanted to, and then as soon as we get back, we're launching, which is what I wanted to share with you all. I think we just passed our 20th AI Bot Builder certified person. So we just launched, I think 8 people got that certification this week from the boot camp we ran in September. October 22nd and 23rd, we're running another one. It's in the classroom. You can register. You can either become part of the AI Leadership Institute and take it with us. There's a couple other workshops that we do. So the AI Leadership Institute is where you can go and you get access to all of our workshops and certifications, or you can buy them one-off, which is basically they're like $100 a time. And I always tell people that $100 is not for me. It's for you. Because if you pay $100, maybe you'll come. And more importantly, maybe you'll finish it. It's only 4 hours. We build a responsible AI system end to end in less than 4 hours. It's mostly prompt engineering super user training. But we put it in the context of building apps, and it's been really fun so far. So that is coming out at the end of September. I realize now that I have missed your hand, Matt. You should just chime in.
Well, I don't want to interrupt. I mean,
know,
you know,
but-
because
but you
my
know,
my
like,
topic is completely off of what you're talking about. But
Oh,
yeah.
that's all right. I feel like I've come to the end of like the updates for Noel for the at least through October 23rd. So
All right. Well, okay. So two
Let's
things.
switch.
Yes. So before I jet, so yeah, next week. So I'm going to be at Johns Hopkins, and they're doing making AI a lifesaver for AI in healthcare.
Cool.
You want me to hook you up with some notes or anything like that afterwards?
100%. And if you wouldn't
right.
maybe mind, you could put those notes in our community.
Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course. Totally.
That'd be
All about sharing
awesome.
the info. Yeah.
That'd be amazing. We
yeah,
could
it's-
like live
it's-
vicariously through your attendance.
Hey, I cannot in any shape or form travel as much as you do because I'm really tied down in DC right now. It's
Yes.
you know, a lot of stuff going on. But
Absolutely.
no, so this question is for Mark, Mr. Shea. So I'm signing up for the the early access request. Can I use my personal email, or do you absolutely need to have my work email?
No, you can use your personal. I sent you a private message too with with a link so you can connect with me if you want to just meet as well.
Okay, got it.
Just so you know, because there's obviously a lot of people who are pretty excited to get their hands on it.
Of course.
There are a number of sort of consulting firms and sort of C-suite groups that are coming up with our alpha partners, if you want to call it.
Cool.
By Q1, everybody will actually be able to just use the entire system, which is pretty exciting. In the meantime, there is an opportunity. I don't want to shill here, but there is an opportunity for anybody. He set up a thing where he's doing a raise right now, and it's $3 million. 2.4 million though is for accredited investors only. But he actually kept a WeFunder available, and you can invest as little as $100 on that.
That's
Investors get first access. So obviously, if you're on the list, and the whole point was he didn't create this as an AI software originally. It was actually an ERP software platform for the legal cannabis space. And then when COVID started,
God bless you.
He had 43 engineers and developers. And there was so much technical debt, and every time there was a change that needed to be made, it would take like a week for the whole team. And so the lead engineer said, I want to build an AI programmable application framework, basically smart AIs that could build the platform. And since then, they immediately let go back in 2020. They let go of the 43 engineers and one human being, and the system itself has built itself.
Oh my
The
gosh.
part is this AI application framework is going to be open sourced next year, and anybody will be able to build any app they want using this. And this first product, AI Mystic, that I was talking about, it's just the first proof of concept. It's the first
I
application.
see. So this is like the outcome of that product.
The outcome.
So-
Yeah, it's cool.
First test case. Yeah.
So
That's
essentially, and so correct me if I'm wrong here. So I'm looking at this from a completely, I'm not looking at this from an investor lens, like, as I just like started a new thing this
sure.
week actually.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at for like more like work applications and stuff, like maybe, you know, a couple of the use cases I have in mind could apply. But so I definitely do not have, you know, that type of cash to sling at anything. Personally, and the organizations I work for, which is DoD and DHS, that type of investment is verboten anyways.
No worries. Again, I'm
so-
not
No,
here
and I
pitching
appreciate you sharing
Yeah.
it because not everyone, I mean, some people on the call are, and like you said, it's just a chance. Like, I do think you should stretch, like spending $100 on a thing. Like, I mean, I back, granted, I'm a backer and I'm an accredited investor. So I'm like in a different maybe frame of mind, but I love the idea of like just putting, it's like Robinhood, except I know these people.
Well, and here's the thing. So he had a whole bunch of people. I got a lot of my friends and family because I believe in Eric. This is his fourth tech company. He put the first virtual reality systems at MGM Studios in 1993. He's been doing stuff. Yeah, he was 30 years ahead of his time though on thinking that was actually going to be a thing.
That's
But
cool.
anyway, but he wanted to keep some of this available to reward those who basically for 3 years he just put his head
Believe in
down.
him.
They haven't
Yeah.
heard much from him, and so he's coming
Hey.
back with this good news now. And so that's
cool.
why he kept it open and
I
has
mean,
it
it's only 100K, right? Like, but it's still, it's cool for the.
well,
you know that.
$100.
Well, I mean, it's only, his goal is only 100K. I mean, obviously
His,
that's not
his goal is he's raising $3 million right now.
Yeah.
Just so
Yeah,
he
but I'm just saying on the WeFunder, you know, like it's not,
600.
this is not his vehicle for doing the big raise. Like it's
Exactly.
just, so I
Not at all.
really think that says something about, you know, the kind of person that he is, like opening it
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I've
You'll
done
get
a lot of
that,
investments.
you'll
like
get that vibe on the podcast. He's a gem of a human.
That's
He's
cool.
he's a kind of one of my mentors because he's so smart, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Hey,
Awesome,
And I
dude.
love it. Go
No,
ahead.
Thank you.
Priscilla.
Don't
Yeah.
you have an
Alright.
AI startup thing
Bye,
that
guys.
you went to?
I
Wait till-
do.
Oh my gosh, bye. Please share about that. Because
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
excited
yeah.
about that.
So yeah, you're right. Actually, you paid me because I just gracefully like threw it out there like in a tiny thing. So I was a keynote at the Startup World Cup here in Miami. And anytime I take a big stage, I'm like, I should have something for these fine people. So I ended up bottling up all the things that I do, and I created an accelerator, a startup accelerator. And so literally, and I like demonstrating how quickly someone can build a thing. So like in less than an hour, maybe 2 hours, I created the AI startup studios. I established like the framework, I mean, all the classes I already teach. So it wasn't like net new content, but it was very specifically like it's hands-on. Like I'm as you can probably tell, I'm experiential. So yeah, so I created the AI startup studio. It's a 6-week program. So I get up on stage and I literally just crafted it the night before, as entrepreneurs will do, right? See a need, address the need, and if people actually need it, then you build it. And so I got up on stage and I was like, everyone, and I'm not going to say anti-VC, but for women, for people of color, VC is not the easiest road. It's actually heartbreaking, like to watch people constantly get just beaten down by VC funding. And so I was like, I am not a believer in VC. None of the companies I've built, you know, AI Leadership Institute did 1.2 million this year on the backs of our customers. Like we built stuff customers bought, and we're going to make 3.4 by the end of 2024. We've set a goal for 10 million by the end of 2025, right? And that's what I was going to tell you. I just did my 2025 planning, and this is based on contracts currently in the pipeline. Like these are like, we've got 50 contracts currently in the pipeline because people are like, oh, 2025 is the year. I wish they would have said that for 2024, but that's fine. This is another reason why the startup accelerator, I think, is so important, is people don't realize what it takes to like build a product that works. Like you get VC funding, you might not even have a product anyone likes. You know, like it's a sad reality for many people. So I was like, what if I could help startups build their company, get to scale, make their first 100K in the time that I'm with them, and then make $1 million. That's my goal. Is like, if I can help any company get to $1 million, if you have a product you can sell. So I've done this before. And in the past, organizations had to switch the product because we realized they didn't have a product they could sell. I would tell them, no problem, go talk to 100 people and just sell it to them. Like for $1, it doesn't matter. It's not how much will they pay. It's, is it even valuable enough for someone to acquire? And in those conversations, it's like cheat codes, right? In the conversation, you're like, hey, I have this thing. Would you like it? These are usually friends, family, people that you know. And they're like, no, you know, I don't have time. I don't have money, whatever. And they're like, what would it take for me to do? Like, how should I change the product to where if I said this, you would be like, it's a no-brainer for me. Like, what would make it a no-brainer for you? And you're not asking them to actually buy it. You might not have even built it yet. You're just like, what would make it a no-brainer? And they give you like this list. After 100 calls, you have a list of features that people are going to beg you for. And you just have to prioritize a few of them and get it out the door. So my goal is to help companies actually build businesses by, I don't know, selling good stuff. Like, call me crazy. So I get on stage. I ended up getting 6 people into that incubator, which was at the time, I only wanted 8. And I was like, well, wait a second. I haven't put it on the internet. I haven't talked about it. So then I was like, how many people could I actually have? I do want it to be in person. So I'm doing now one virtually because a bunch of people were at the Miami. I didn't know this. I thought it was Miami's Startup World Cup. I didn't realize it was like global. Startup World Cup. So I got like all these people from all over, but we are going to do a local one where you meet in the office 3 days a week and you basically build your business right there. We sell, we do sales training. So I'm a seller at heart. I want everyone to know how to, I mean, everyone sells all the time, right? Like literally every conversation is a sale. And so there's a book, I think I might even have it. It's called Sell or Be Sold. It's by a guy. Some people love him, some people hate him, but it's so true. In every conversation, you're either selling your idea or you're getting sold on someone else's. And the sooner you realize it, the more impactful you can be, because you can be intentional. Like either I'm here to buy or I'm here to sell, like one or the other. But I don't want to accidentally get sold. It's kind of like, y'all know, I love the Hamilton musical. And it's like the whole Aaron Burr thing. Like if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And how important it is that your customers think you believe. That's why just the little I've heard about Eric, like I'm like, I feel like he's that kind of person. Like I'm going to tell you what I believe in. I'm like, I have a philosophy on why this is important. I don't want to just buy a product. I buy the person, I buy the company, I buy their culture. And I think a lot of other, especially accredited investors, are moving in this direction of like, we're going to become part of your family, especially at this stage of an organization. So really cool stuff. I am so appreciative that you shared it. It's really neat. So I'm going to throw some money at it. Like, what's the harm?
I'd love to connect you directly with him. I think
Oh my
you guys,
gosh, yes, for
you guys will
sure.
nerd out, and he'll love your energy too, because you know
Yes.
you're obviously a doer as well, which is really
Yes. Just like, yeah, I'm like reading through this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, and AI agents. I mean, now we're calling it agents, but like this
Yeah, whatever.
multitask stuff, we've been dreaming about this for a long time, and the tech has only recently been like really capable to extend that to people other than the scientists. And that's who I care about, right? I'm like, billions of people should learn how to use this technology to just either make the life. I mean, so many people, I get off stage and they're like, you briefly talked about how you made your life better for your son who has Down syndrome. Like, tell me more about how exactly you did that. I'm like, well, it's a little complicated because I had to buy 150 devices and they're all over my house and they're running on different networks with different passwords. Like, it's a mess. But in this world, it doesn't have to be that way. I could actually just use my voice and architect a agent specific solution to enable people who have disabilities, or my dad, for example, he has cognitive issues, like just memory issues, and being able to help him just gain independence. Like there's so much good stuff we can do when we really see agentic become accessible to everyone. So it's really cool.
You just brought something up that I find really interesting. Do you remember the studies they did with I'm going to get it all wrong because it's a long time, but maybe you'll remember this. They did a study with a number of people who are older and they were losing their memories. And they brought them into a setting where they actually recreated and rebuilt their environment of their houses from like 50 years earlier. And they played the music and they did all the things. And these people immediately, their blood levels changed, their appearances changed, their memories came back. They were vibrant. They were out playing golf. They were doing things that you do. AI is going to be able to recreate those memories, bring them back, like basically
100%.
bring a lot of those old things that'll bring back memory. I think that's going to be super exciting.
Yeah,
because my
especially
parents are now in the 80s, you know.
100%. Like, especially as the form factors start to get better, right? Because right now I can do a little bit of that in like the AR VR world, but like the headsets aren't great. I don't have it here, but I have a Oculus Pro. It's probably the one I can wear the longest. But I'm a huge fan of AR, like a huge fan of like being able to see all of my screens on all my devices in a view where I can just tap, like Minority Report style. Like slide windows around. So I'm just a huge fan, but the form factor is a limitation. So I'm like I've been working with a lot of organizations on their like hardware side, and hardware, it takes forever. Like ideas we had 5 years ago are just now coming to market. So I'm hoping that'll get better. But then actually, you probably would know this project, but my twin brother, he is the creative director at the Sphere in Vegas. And that was the first time where I was like, okay, this is like this kind of experience, this holistic, like surround, vibration, smells, the 4D or 5D, whatever D experience they talk about, like 100%. Like I got goosebumps when you were talking about, because I remember that study, and how it was, there was like, what was it called? There was like a movie that modeled this too with Robin Williams way back in the day, where everyone got like, they were in this like almost catatonic state, and then they awakened for a little while and they became like little kids. And
Wait,
You're
those are
thinking
the-
of
those are
Cocoon.
No.
Cocoon. Was it
Yeah.
Cocoon? Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
Cocoon.
I was also thinking of like, wasn't it like Patchwork Adams or I
Patch
don't-
Adams.
Patch Adams. That was
Yeah.
another one, like where it was about like just awakening. But yes, 100%. Both those movies are
But Mark, the village you're talking about was in Holland, and they did
Holland?
one in Germany. And here's something you don't know, because that's old people, it's my space. It
yes.
didn't work forever because people got really bored being back there, because you assume that the 60s,
It's pretty
it's a
cool.
mindset. What AI will enable to do is, for the difference now is that using AI tools, and this is a hypothesis I'm going to prove out on a very large research basis, because I just won a 350 person facility, the
Nice.
biggest of its kind, and Amazon is going to help me, Noelle.
I agree. I
So
believe
long
it.
story short is it's the creativity part where you implement chunks of whatever there is. But you have to understand, when it's gone, you can't bring it back. What you can do, but they're working on that too. If they can get some rusty neural gates going again, they can find their way to the rusty file cabinet in the back also,
Yeah.
because that's where all of our stuff is. You see, everybody who's younger on this call are aware that I maxed out my file cabinet, I don't know, 10 years ago. I thought I had dementia, but what I had is data dimension. And you see, people who are younger, you're not afraid, because you can get the answer of what doesn't come of mind. Whereas in my generation, oh my God, I can't remember, a name. Like
Yeah.
your father probably has this, Noelle, and it kind of freaks you out, but it doesn't for me, because I just say Siri. And
Right.
so nobody's going to ever know when I go to the other side, because I'll still be asking and getting the answers using AI. So anyhow, but it's interesting
But
because
Sherry, you have to like introduce yourself because Mark doesn't know who you are. So say a little bit about who you are and what you do, because you've got such a cool perspective and is always enlightening us about like she works with really cool people, like older people. So just give us a little taste and talk
older
about your
people,
NIST.
yes, we are cool. I don't have a normal career. I've done many, many things in the last 15 years. I was never in tech, other than I love tech and I'm self-taught, and like Noelle, I did communications. I worked for the Today Show. I worked for international media conglomerates. I built giant museums. I was in sports marketing, shock and awe all the time for investors to give me your money. I'll do amazing things for you. But now at this point, I've been a very big volunteer, but now I'm monetizing it. And that is in the senior space. My theory has been forever that since AI came into it, the more I can build creative systems with voice, because I knew voice was the magic ticket. And
Yep.
because I work in an area of DC where the diversity is huge, the benefit is when you get older, you're going to revert to your native tongue. I don't know if any of you've hung out with really old people who are from another place, but they start speaking their native tongue. And that's a plus thing, because again, those threads of something that is familiar is great. Like I have people now, I have so many, I don't get a commission, but I should, from Amazon for all the Amazon echoes, because I have watched more I Love Lucy segments than any of you ever, ever. And that's my go-to. That is like, they hired me for the 6-year-old's birthday party. And now let's take that rabbit out of the hat again. So I Love Lucy and a few other things, but I will tell you, it is gold, because the frontier of these accessible tools for older people to keep them in the game is ginormous. I did a test study at this facility that I'm going to do this huge thing for. I just dragged this woman in with her walker. I almost made her trip, which was like, oops. But so I sat her down and I just said, just tell me something you like. And she's from Iran, so she speaks Farsi. And so I said, I just said to chat, I'd like a nice lullaby in Farsi. And started doing it. the expression on her face, think of everything you've seen on TV of like, and it was incredible. And then I did some other prompts for her. And she was just beside herself. She goes, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? And that was a very easy sell. Noelle talks about the tools of how you sell. I'm always about, get the 85-year-old who just wants to just eat what you just gave them as the convincing thing for a director of one of the most important facilities that is in the state of Virginia. So that was pretty damn easy.
Yeah, I bet.
And they wanted a grant. I did a grant in 4 minutes for 25 grand using chat. And honest to God, this will never get old for me. Okay. The expression on people's faces, it's worth the price of admission. Right? It is worth the price of admission. So I love it.
Well,
Shereen,
thank
I
you.
just DM'd you. I really want to connect with you. I'm working with a friend who started this. It's called Maturepreneurs. And she's literally focused on this demographic of people who aren't ready to leave the workspace, who want to get active and they want to learn not just AI, but how to stay active and be relevant, and not, become like my parents who just felt like they were kind of just ahead of this wave. So
Yeah.
like they're sitting at home puttering about.
100%.
I've got Echo shows in 90-something-year-olds home. And what they really love is I've taught them how to rant, because people don't understand. They get very frustrated in the fact that these tools let you go off the rails. Oh, and caregiving. That's the other thing. I always bake the scenario. I'll go like, I'm a 65-year-old caregiver. I deal with an 85-year-old who I have to toilet, make meals, do the household chores, and I'm about ready to kill him. And it came up with an hour by hour. And I was getting, like local nonprofits who volunteer, and they're like, we've been doing this for 25 years, Sherry, and we don't use logic. We use our heart. So I got 3 people on the call to give me their scenarios, and they bake the same kind of solutions, the breathing, everybody who does yoga, all this, 40, 50-year-olds like, oh yeah, I want more breathing, like, oh, maybe they'll do it differently and I'll learn something else. But the point is that we're at a point where, Mark, you don't know this, but I was involved big time with the World Wide Web. In fact, when I did the America's Cup online, it was the first promo where I actually sold ads. Really pathetic, because back then it took like 5 minutes, and the demo was only porn for the people who had seen this before, so it was kind of interesting. But long story short, is this the same revolution all over again? What I love about this at this moment in time is the excitement. I mean, remember, you guys are too young, but we went from the yellow pages to the web. Do you understand the yellow pages? Do you understand?
I have the yellow pages.
Okay, so the deal.
I spent my entire I basically started even as a professional. We didn't have email yet, so I'm old enough to remember all.
Well, we did when I was involved with sailing. We did CompuServe in the 80s because sailors are so cheap that they would literally go on those groups, and we would embed the meeting times. Like, you speak of Australia. I lived in Australia for a year, Noelle, and I did every media market. Oh my God, it was so much BS fun. I mean, really. And
I think you're right, though. I think we're in this now. Like, we're in the same.
The enthusiasm to capture that. There's a little bit too much. By the way, you're speaking at, I looked at all your things for DC. The problem is too many people are saying the same thing. It's just like the web again. How many different ways could you represent a hair salon back in 1998? You know what I mean? So we're kind of at that. How sophisticated a bot do I need to get an appointment with my dentist? How much shock and awe is required? So I think Noelle has a keynote on the balance of intro and execution.
Enthusiasm and execution. Yeah.
Because the point is, if you do not have staying power, you're going to be like my show in off Broadway that lasted 6 weeks. Okay. You know what I mean?
I
So,
want
but
to
at least-
connect you. I want to connect you all to Matt Golden. He was a previous advisor of mine, and he's also a founder himself of Map Habit. And he specializes with elder care and even the use of conversational AI. He has his own thing going on, but if you look him
Cool.
up on LinkedIn, Matt Golden.
What does he do? Like
He's
how
the founder of Map Habit. So like for people with Alzheimer's, even like special needs,
I found him.
yeah, he's amazing. Amazing.
I
connection.
mean, you have to understand, there are a lot of us pretending to be falling apart who are putting the
We
revolution
know.
together. So we do not get the plug pulled on us. We're going to be the ones who escape. So,
I think it's awesome.
because you guys don't know how old I am, but I'm very old. But you understand, I am doing shock and awe for 20 and 30-year-olds. I know more than they do, and that's
Exactly.
scary.
But that's
Oh,
only
you
because
know.
you put your fingers on a keyboard and build stuff. Like literally, it is a unicorn skill no matter how old you are. Like people want to do a lot of talking, they don't do a lot of like a lot of showing. You know, that's why our motto is be a doer, not a talker.
Yeah,
Like,
but see, what Noelle, the people who are on who don't hang with her in the other community like we do, this is, and she knows this. I said it to her once. We met each other when she was doing the very first Voice and AI. I was on the panel. Heidi was on that panel too, by the way.
she's a wonderful woman.
A wonderful woman who
Carry
doesn't.
on.
So
Continue. Yeah.
the
We're
deal
live.
is,
We're
the deal is, Noelle drank the right drink. I had the vision because of my past, but what happens with many of us, we let our regular lives consume us. And so that entrepreneurial thing, you cannot let up. If you really have a good idea, you've got to do what Noelle, I mean, night and day, night and day, night and day. And she built, I mean, she was a software engineer. Give me a break. She told the story of she needed a job, so she taught herself Java and got a job at IBM. That's the best part of your story. No, well, that's the best part of your story. Not that I didn't graduate from high school because you were already a brainiac, so that doesn't fly.
Yeah.
The best part
That's a
was
good
I
story.
needed a job and I taught myself Java. How many people can relate to that with AI? I did a chat, sorry, that's my stupid clock. I made a bot. I did one for my garden club. I had 45 old ladies across the country because I'm on a National Garden Club board. And I go, oh, look, here's a free app. And all it says is build it. And I'll put the URL in. They started asking questions. Everybody unmuted themselves and said, oh my God, oh my God. So the point is that the consistency of why Noelle is gold in our lives right now is that she is a bit of like holding the fireworks too close, by the way. It's like, that's what you're like, Noelle, having
There are
fireworks
people
in your
that
hand.
say enough, Noelle, for goodness sakes, it's enough.
No, but it's always good because the refreshing thing is that Elon Musk has nothing on you because you don't have a battery pack. That's just
Right.
you. So, but the point is, the fact is, like Mark, when you said of what your background was and what's his name jumped off. I mean, it is very exciting. Not everybody has to do sexy stuff. Okay. That's the other thing. Don't
Yeah, I
feel
agree.
badly if you don't do sexy. I mean, yes, my whole life was pretty sexy because I would fall into things and I would have to meet potentates, but it's okay because you're part of something that's pretty cool. And we know we're at the front of the runners right now with Noelle because she wants to win her race and she's sharing. That is the difference. She is sharing. No, I mean,
That's right.
because
You're right.
I mean,
I
that's
do
the
want to
whole
win. I am a winner. Everywhere I'm like, I always say to myself, I'm like, whatever I touch turns to gold. And it's not like a statement of like it is happens to be true in the past, but it's like an affirmation of like my purpose. Like whatever I do is going to be amazing, but it's no fun. Like I've done it by myself. I've done it on teams where I didn't feel like anyone else was doing the thing, running with me. People were not ambitious, people were lazy. And then I realized it's literally because they didn't have a leader that demonstrated what that looks like. And so when I became that person, a bunch of people were like, well, I'll do that. And so out of nothing, we built this amazing team of rock star talent that was ready to be let go because they were so disengaged from their work, but like we're super ignited because they saw somebody with a little excitement. So that's why I'd say in our AI solution architect, right, webinar, one of our laws of the 21 laws of being an AI solutions architect is be the most positive person in the room. And it doesn't just mean like trite positivity. It means like be a winner, like go after it, get it done, like show people. I mean, my husband and I have this conversation because luckily, as you know, the world could not handle two of me in one house. So we are opposites. So when I sit down, I'm like, all right, so imagine our 2025 planning. I'm like, all right, so we're going to do this. And he's like, I mean, he's the grounded one, right? Like I am not grounded. 100%. That's why I married him. So he's like, so maybe we should think, I don't know, more practically. Like, how many customers do you have in the pipeline? How many? Well, I'm like, no, that's not a function of my like process. My process is how many can I get? And like, what's the, like not market size, but literally like if I've got relationships and proven that I've done it, it's like light fire on it and it will get bigger. Like that's definitely going to happen. If you put fire on something that's already burning, it will get bigger. And this is something I think most entrepreneurs forget because they have something that's got a little bit of like a fire going and they go like me, squirrel. And then they go build another little fire and then another, and they never get that 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure furnace because they're starting all these little fires, which are great. And they give light and it helps the world, but nowhere near what I could do if I just, got my like little 2 Comma Club award, right? Like if I just stay focused, I might have just confused you all because I'm mixing my calls together, but.
You see, you're not just entertainment, you're the real deal because you actually did the work. So that is the distinction.
Right. That's right.
I am more on the marketing BS, but I am trying to build the damn bot. But I can still do videos because I have that mentality from all the years in media. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is going to shake down. This is going to shake out, and you're going to have to figure out where's your place.
Yeah.
Because there's so much shock and awe right now. In reality, there will be machines taking over our enthusiasm soon. And that's a true statement. So I think that the smartest people are going to look 5 years out to think and just get a good investor and buy property in Puerto Rico, Noelle.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I bought in the second Puerto Rico, which is Miami, Florida, but still.
Yeah, but you're going to be underwater soon enough. It's too soon.
Orlando, not Miami. Orlando's the second.
That's
Puerto
true.
Rico.
That's true.
Yeah, it's coming.
I'm in
It's
Orlando.
coming.
Are you really?
It's
Oh
coming.
my gosh.
No
Oh,
way.
We'll
Yeah.
have to do a meetup in
You
Orlando.
look familiar too, Mark. Are you near Medical City?
No, I'm over in
Lake
Montverde,
Nona?
next to
Where?
Montverde Academy, Montverde. It's
Okay. I'll
Just-
connect with you after the call.
yeah,
I
it's
already
north-
connected
And then we
with
should
northwest
totally get
of
together.
Orlando.
It's just
Yeah.
a bright line away for me.
Absolutely. Oh, we're probably closer than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be bright lining it.
And Mark looks
By the
like
way,
he's
look-
very healthy.
You'll
Outdoors. You
appreciate.
get outdoors. You look like you get outdoors.
Oh, I do. I'm actually
Sure.
doing. I'm actually doing the lighting for EDC, which is a big festival coming up in Orlando in a
Okay,
month.
awesome.
Do you have an extra light on yourself right now?
Check this out. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Your face looks too perfect. There
It's
you
good.
go.
Lighting is good. Like, wait a second.
is.
I don't have lighting on myself today.
I don't have
It's
lighting.
like a $10 light on Amazon.
Oh, it's not that I don't own
Oh,
it. It's just that I didn't turn it on.
I didn't turn mine on either. This is what you get.
I love this. See, we're
Stand
inspiring
everywhere.
each other to be
This is what you
great.
get.
Like, I love it. I love it. All
I
right. Well,
think-
I've kept
I
you.
think-
Yes,
Oh,
go ahead,
I
Mark.
was just going to share one more thing.
Yeah,
I
please
think,
do.
I think where people are going to really thrive, or those people that are going to really thrive, are the ones who um, learn what you're supposed to do to have a business, all the parts of it, right? So you had mentioned what you were doing, and Eric, years ago at UCF here, University of Central Florida, they have the second largest business school, I think, in the country. And his company, his old tech company, used to be the title sponsor for, it was called the Joust competition, which was like a business plan competition. Students would present and go look for investment, and his company
Yep,
would provide.
pitching, yes.
But then he went in as a guest professor, he went in and he taught a course, and it was fascinating because it was basically okay, you've got an idea, now what?
Yeah.
You want to launch a company. And the first thing he did on day one was he went into the room and he said, okay, how many of you here have been into a bank and opened a bank account? 2 people in college, 2 students in the entire class, and this is an entrepreneur class, had ever even been to a bank. So he said, okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to go
Start here.
You're going to go into the bank. You're going to tell them that you're starting a business. You're going to tell them you're going to start what kind of business you're starting and that you need to open a bank account and blah, blah, blah. And they'll give you a bunch of papers and they'll tell you what you need to do. And he basically went through it, and every single one of them had started a company, a business by the end of the course. But they learned it because they had to hands-on do it step by step by step. Now, I don't think everybody needs to understand all that. But what is coming, and I'm telling you, because I mean, you all know it's coming anyway, especially. I
Yeah,
mean,
of course. You're preaching to the choir, but it's still
but
good
I'm
information.
actually seeing it in real life with this platform. It's 12 months away from somebody or less from somebody saying, I want to start a company. And the agent says, well, what kind of company? I don't know. Well, what's your main interest? Well, I'm passionate about this. Okay, cool. Okay, well, let's make a list of the 500 tasks that you need to do, split them up by department. Then it'll just like
Create
assign them
agents
to
to
different agents,
deliver.
and the agents will literally just get started. And in your first day, you can be having revenue. Like you'll have a
Yes,
website set up, you'll have everything.
that's right.
It's so close to being here that I think it's better for people to be able to be the front person and be a personality, and that stuff's
That will be
important.
the differentiator.
That'll be the
100%.
differentiator.
Because
you
at
can
the
have-
end of the day, just like me, like the first thing I go do is research Eric. Not like the tech is cool and I'm sure it does all it says it does, but I want to know who you are. And I think even
Right.
younger generations are much more focused on like, who are you, not what do you do, when what you
Totally.
do is going to be a bit of a commodity. It's not going to be who's doing it and do I want to be in a relationship with those people. Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I agree with you. I think it's going to become that easy to like, who was it that we just saw an article that come out that said, we are not far away from our first like $1 billion company that
One
is
person company.
yes, solopreneur making $1 billion. And with a system like that, 100% like building your strategy, writing your content calendar, being consistent on the internet, creating ads that work and convert, and then just putting fire on it. It's not hard to do even now, really. It's just people aren't really workers. But when you take work out of the
Yeah.
equation, which is what this AI will do,
Automate.
yeah.
And there will be, and I think the next great filmmakers are going to be some 16-year-old sitting in their bedroom at their house. They just happen to be a great storyteller, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, the technology will do all the rest.
Yeah.
So it's like, who can tell the best stories, which makes me super excited, because I've been watching all this Diddy garbage and I've been watching all this Hollywood stuff, and I can't wait till it all burns and crashes and
100%.
all that insular bullshit is
Yeah.
done.
Version 8 of the Avengers.
So to Mark's point too, is the video to video. I'm very curious about that and how we can integrate that in creativity without breaching or plagiarism or something like
I
that.
think all those rules will change, to be honest.
Totally.
We are running on a 1960s level of information generation and creation and protection. One
Even
thing I heard from, I was on Capitol Hill and attending a meeting, and one thing I heard from one of the young people who was trying to get their ideas across, she was like, we don't even care about copyright or plagiarism. Like, we don't ask who owns it. Like, it is everyone's. Like, the thing itself is not the thing. It is how I decide to use it. Like, the value is not in the data itself. It's in how I correlate that data. And it was fascinating to me because like everyone in the room was good 20, 40 years older than her, and they could not understand a world where I wouldn't care about my own stuff. And it's a different mentality, right? So I think we will see kind of a deconstruction and reconstruction, just like Web3, right? Though Web3 is, I don't know, in trouble from a perspective, but the concept of Web3, decentralization, breaking down these old ideas about what it means to have copyright. Like, I do think, and this is my hope, my vision, maybe, that blockchain, right, will end up becoming this critical tool that we use to pay people what they're worth and give credit where credit is due. And so to your point on like all the things are stacking up, like it's all there. We just need a little bit more to put that stuff together. And then of course, quantum will come out and destroy everything.
Oh my gosh. Don't get me started on quantum.
Brittany has had her hand up patiently. Thank you. I saw you in the chat, so I'm so glad you decided to say hello. Good to see you, Brittany.
Yeah, I thank you, Noelle. I just put my hand up because I wanted to put my hand up before I forgot what I was going to say.
I hope you didn't forget.
I wanted to piggyback off of what Mark said. I've been enjoying the conversation, by the way, and I've just been listening. But I think I've been in so many conversations about AI. And one thing that is like totally racking or mind-boggling for me is how many people are actually talking about AI, but not actually innovating and creating solutions with AI. Like, there's so many conversations happening to the point where I'm like, okay, y'all, stop talking about it and let's do
something.
And so I don't know if that's like my millennial brain. I'm 33. I don't know if I'm the youngest person in the room, but my brain's like, okay, enough talk. Let's innovate.
Yeah. That's why you're here, because we're friends that way. Like, yes. And the sooner you do something, you differentiate yourself. Like, you are set apart, because there are just not that many doers, even in the big companies, PwC, Deloitte, like all these companies. I watch them build their teams, and they're not doers, they're talkers. So they're selling the idea and no one can implement, which is why, yeah, we're all about hands-on. So I love that, Brittany.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh my gosh, thankful to be connected to other people who are actually innovating, especially in healthcare, because I'm in healthcare, specifically public health in the clinical setting. Like, when I tell people about the GPTs I've created to use, they're like, huh, what? And they're so like, I don't know if their minds can't compute that you can do this now.
I'm sure.
Or what, but I'm just like, y'all, we can use this for so much good. We can level the playing fields. We can give populations who wouldn't normally have access to certain services. Like, there's so much you can do with AI. And so when people are just talking, I'm just like, okay, enough talk. Absolutely. How are you going to use this? How are you going to innovate?
And that they're a conversation away from just seeing what it might look like. Like, there's no excuses to not be a doer now, because you could just say, build, like today, so I got this idea. I think I talked to you about a couple weeks ago, but I was in a meeting and I literally created a product in the meeting and was like, we should, and it was for the Justice product, right? So I created Justice GPT, which is this very specific model. But I was like, when I was talking to the client, I was like, you know what? We should actually it shouldn't just be one, which goes to this whole agentic concept. Like, it's good to build one purpose-built solution that solves a single problem. I'm a believer in minimum remarkable products and getting momentum with the single thing. But as soon as you know the problem you're going after, like, why couldn't if I already know that this client, even if I don't know, if I ask GPT, hey, if you're a nonprofit in the justice space, what are the top 15 things that you struggle with as an organization? Generative AI is going to say, here are the top 15 things. Why wouldn't I just create models to help facilitate all 15 things and then build a platform? And that's literally what I did on the call. I was like, now it's called Jazz. So, and we've come up with some fun things like Jazz Life, where we like tattoo it to our things. And then what was the other one? Like, anyway, we came up with all these fun things to say, but it's like justice as a service. Like, it becomes a platform full of little agents. And like I said, I can't wait. That's why I'm so interested in what you were talking about, Mark, because I can't wait to have a situation where I can have it. Here's the problem. Now it's going to ask me a couple clarifying questions around who I'm trying to serve. But then it will go build these custom models where I'm building them myself right now, which again is still not a very heavy lift, but it's still a thing. But it is clarity of thought. Like, at the end of the day, like, teaching people, that's why my entrepreneurial classes are more about how you think, because how you think is how you talk, and how you talk is how your machines are going to build. And it's more critical now than ever. And guess what? most of us don't know how to talk very well. Like we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to clearly say what we need. Most of us have been trained to not say what we need, to not ask for help. And literally, we're now in a world where you get the best outcomes when you can clearly articulate what you want. And most of us have been taught our whole lives not to ever to sit down and be quiet. So
Yeah.
it's fascinating.
Brittany, speaking to what you were saying about the doers, there, just so you know, last year, about 18 months ago, we do this thing called the AI Breakfast Club, and we basically invite like CEOs and C-suite people and things to get feedback, basically, but to talk about AI, and once a week. And back then, there were 72,000 different models listed on Hugging Face, which is one of the places where they list all these. There's now there's 1.3 million, or sorry, 1,031,000 of them up there. And that's just Hugging Face. There's an AI for that. That's not any of the big models that you're familiar with. So I mean, it is innovation at the speed of AI. There's literally over 1 million different models out there. That being said, you're right. The majority of people though are just talking, and then, yeah.
It's exciting though, because we are, we're the doers. That's why we're here together. We're people who wanted to do more than just listen to a trite conversation or watch a YouTube video. Like we want to have real conversations about this. And hopefully, even though we go all over the place, we go from elder care to healthcare to finance to tax, just depends on who shows up, and it's different every single week. But hopefully you can take it for wherever you're in the world and be like, oh, that's cool. I never really thought about that. I will post another kind of use case challenge and see what use cases people are thinking about. But Sherry actually was one of the finalists in the use case challenge last time. Or did you win? I think you won. Did you win? Or maybe Tracy won. I can't remember. But there were a couple really cool ones, and it's things that you never think about. Like, so in that case, it was, using, letting people who were older and maybe had dementia describe food. Wasn't that it, Sherry? Yeah. And it was so cool because they were building it with DALL-E. So they described food, and then DALL-E would create these like masterpieces of art.
But that's the second part of the project that's going forward.
Good. I'm so glad. I love it. It was such a cool use case. So keep on the lookout, stay connected in the community. If you have good ideas or books you're reading or anything like that, throw it in the community. I know a lot of you, it could become a lot of noise, but I'm very careful about who I let in the community. We are approaching, I should say, like 900 people, which is crazy because we just started this party. But it's exciting. If you know anyone who wants to be here and part of the fun, as we get bigger, obviously we'll just create more calls so that we can keep it like this intimate. I don't really want to see a call with more than 40 people on it, because then did I say Bueller on this call, or was it the other one?
No, the other one.
Well, there's this new app called Bueller AI. And like, if you're in a large call, you can just have a video of yourself on loop. And it's like, like it looks like you're paying attention. And so I don't want to create a room so big that people could use Bueller AI to just pretend that they're there. Right. So keeping it small, but we'll just add more people or more calls. And I think it'll be really great. It'll also support, we have people in Taiwan, in Latin America, we have people in Australia, we have people in New Zealand. This time is not awesome for them. But I picked it because it was awesome for me. So as we grow, hopefully some of the leaders will also facilitate more conversations so we can get together. But I learn a lot from everyone who contributes and talks, and I'm inspired every day to know that I'm not alone. Even though I might be on the higher end of enthusiasm, I feel like I'm not alone in kind of having this builder mentality.
Do you think you are at the higher end? Do you think?
Maybe a little. People tell me that sometimes.
Yeah, but you see, you make me look calm. You make me look calm. I'm as bad as you all the time.
Yes.
I am at this. People, the older people, they just check their pacemakers. They just like kind of back off and like.
Oh my gosh, but do you remember the law that I talked about? Like, so what I do is I read the room, right? So you guys are an exception because I'm just like, I just come as I am. But I will read the room, especially in a sales meeting, and I won't be over the top, but I will be wherever they are. I just come in a little bit higher, no matter where. And I feel like this is a super interesting superpower when you go in and start either pitching your idea or getting, in a transactional environment, where you just have a slightly higher level of energy, or even a lot higher, but not like so high that they actually, there's a moment where they get closer to you because you're cool and like exciting and enthusiastic. And then you get so enthusiastic that people actually start moving away. And there's a very thin line in between those. And so I try to really stay like, I read the room, I look, I'm like, all right. So I do these calls for like very older generation CEOs. And I will get on the call and I can't be like crazy Noelle because they instantly go, you can see them like basically back up on a virtual call. So I've learned to like look around and kind of go, okay, where am I at? And it might even take me a little bit. I do this on my on stages too, where I kind of like feel out the audience. But I feel like that's again part of the uniqueness of us being human. Like this is what will differentiate us is that we can be empathetic to our audience. We can change how we deliver, how we show up. It's not, I don't change who I am. I just turn it down a tiny bit.
Modulate.
Yeah, I modulate. Exactly. And I think that that's something self-awareness and empathy for who we're talking to and who we're trying to get to. You know, people often call it like technobabble when you have this epiphany, like we're all epiphany people. We're post-epiphany of like AI is awesome. Everyone I talk to is pre-epiphany. And if I go in there with post-epiphany excitement, they're like, oh, I'll just take your word for it. And then they never touch it. But if I come in with, and I try to harness my energy pre-epiphany, like what was I like that day before my dad used Alexa and what happened the very next day, not 10 years later, what happened the day after? I was like, this is legit. Like I wasn't super excited because I didn't know yet, but I was like, this is real. And that's kind of what I try to do for my audiences is like, no matter where you are on the curve, but like just come in a little bit after that moment where you made that first realization, and then everyone can be at that party. Not everyone, you all can hang with me, which is very nice and comforting. Not everyone can hang with Noelle at her highest levels of yeah, and I talk about myself in the
Yeah, I
third
use
person.
you to burn calories. That's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
did back to back. I'm burning calories hanging out with you.
That's right. That's right. We love Friday. So thank you for hanging out. It's been like a lot, an hour and 20 minutes. I set this call for 5:30. My intention is to always end at 5, but I always blow my time. So now I just set it to 5:30 and we're almost always done naturally by this time. But just so you know, so you're not like, why does she keep saying it's over? And the time says we're not done yet, but an hour is good. But always we have questions. So I like us to talk to each other for a little bit of time and not feel pressured. And of course, if we're ever in a really deep discussion, like I'm not gonna be like, and bye. But that's kind of the gist. It also an hour is a lot for some people. And so I feel like I stretched the amount of time they're willing to spend of their volunteer time. Thank you all for volunteering to spend some time together with people. Like we're all on the same journey. We're in different parts of the world, looking through different lenses, but we're all really very similar in some of the most important ways. So I'm always honored that we have a chance to hang out. And thanks, Mark, for showing up. I think this is your first call with us. So thanks for coming.
This is, yes. And by the way, anybody that's interested, I did share my link here to.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, good.
In the chat.
Yeah, and I'm, I would love to bring value to anybody. I'm not an expert.
Oh, cool.
I'm not an
Awesome.
expert at AI, like at doing all the tools. I know where it's going because I'm involved in that thing, but I have a lot of life experience. I've traveled the world. I built some of the largest camps at Burning Man and know the most extraordinary people from around the planet. And if you need something, I probably know somebody that I can connect you with where you can get what you need. So I'd love
You don't by chance know
Well-
anyone named Jordan Robinson, do you?
God, I don't know.
He's a
That's-
Burning Man guy.
Very common name too. I don't know. I
It is
need-
not. Is it really?
Jordan- Yeah, it's a very common
Oh.
name. Go to
Little
LinkedIn.
do I know. All right. Anyway, I was just curious because he's also built a bunch of installations there. So I was just curious.
Love
if we
it.
were in the same
Yes.
circle.
So Mark, have you taken advantage of Guy Fawkes Day? You're behind the curve, man. You got to get that event going.
Oh my God.
Take
If
it
you
over.
like, if you got a thing about burning, you could scale it. You see AI is scalable to do Guy Fawkes Day. So,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
'cause I think it's today. Is it today?
Is it?
I'm not sure, but that's very
I'm not
generous.
afraid I'm married to one. He usually talks torches on the day, but
Awesome.
Love
I
it.
love it. Thank you for volunteering that. Like there's some chunks
Absolutely.
of time to hang out with Mark. I think this is what it's about. Like finding
Yeah.
out what people do and how we can connect and collaborate. So thank you for doing that. Of course, I am here for all of you. You can message me anytime. And I will do my best to respond as soon as possible. We got lots of people now, but I'm doing my best to keep up. And Sherilyn, who's always on these calls, is my assistant. So she helps me out in maintaining some busy days where I get, hundreds of messages. But we're doing pretty good so far. Like I'm excited for it. But as we get really big, which we will, because people are just figuring this out. We have a few leadership members that are innovators in this, like in our space, have met I forgot to tell you guys, but you can rank in our community just so you can, if you want to. And as you hit certain levels, you get access to doing cool stuff with me, access to our swag store. But most importantly, you get to, if you are here for a while and you're contributing and people value your contributions, you can be asked to become part of our moderation team and our leadership team to help lead some of these calls. So we're going to usher in a lot of people who've never really thought about AI as a profession. We're seeing that already. And so I'm just excited that we can help bring more people into the fold. That's what it's all about. So thank you. Awesome. Annette, great to see you. Oh, yeah. Is it the 5th? Oh, it's November 5th. It's November 5th. Thank you. Awesome, Annette. Thank you. Brittany, thanks for joining us. And Mauricio, you didn't come on today. Surprised you must be on the phone or on your phone or in a car.
I'm here. We just listened to the very interesting comments, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yes.
All right, awesome. I just want to make sure I see you all. Thank you all for being here. And we'll do it again next week before I head out to the amazing Sydney. I don't know what time this call will be on the Friday of when I'm in Sydney, but whatever it is, I'll be there. I'll either look very tired or very refreshed, depending on when it falls. So, all right. Have a great time. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Noelle, I just sent you a text.
Thank you, Noelle.
Okay, I'll see you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
The call will be on Saturday at 4 a.m. because
Awesome.
it's 12 hours difference.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
It's
Bye-bye.
early
Enjoy your
for
weekend.
me.
Don't go swimming with any sharks.